This is going to be something different. I'm going to talk about a weird video I just saw and try to decode it. And the one I'm doing today is the video Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Perhaps you've heard of this series, especially the third part, which I have not seen, but the one I'm going over is the first of these parts. I will say the only parts I have seen are this one and the second, and in all honesty, I found the first to stick out in my mind way more than the other. Why is that? Well, let's talk about it first. The video starts off with three characters sitting at a table, until a notebook starts to sing about creativity, and sings about how fun it can be. Simple at first, but as the video goes on, the characters try to be creative in simpler ways, but for some reason the notebook objects to them, and doesn't give a valid explanation as to why. In fact, it doesn't give a reason at all. But what's even more jarring is that around the climax of the video, it starts to get confusingly more disturbing. And this is done when the notebook says to get creative. And this is where the characters start to take stuff and put glitter on it. One of these things is a human heart. Not a cartoon looking one, but a realistic looking human organ heart. Hopefully it was a fake model. But even then, it's still not as crazy as when through a series of odd events, someone tries to spell the word death, and we see more very surreal imagery of blood, human organs, and see the characters noticeably change looks in a few small but obvious ways. And after the end of this nonsense, the scenery goes back to normal, and the notebook tells everybody to not be creative, and then the video just straight up ends. Not before the end credits. So, when I first watched it, I was so confused about it, I didn't know what to think. In fact, the confusion got so bad that I went and looked for a second opinion online. It might have figured out some things. Now, in order to truly understand this video, we need to answer a few questions. Number 1, what was the purpose? Number 2, was there a more specific message the creators wanted us to subtly learn? Number 3, what was the symbolism in this surreal imagery? Number 4, what does this have to do with the title of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? Well, let's start with the first question. What was the purpose? It seemed like it wanted to talk about how good it was to be creative, but that can't really be the case because of how messed up the video gets, as well as its last words. In fact, the whole idea it tries to present feels more like it would fit into a Sesame Street short than a viral video. By the way, we'll be talking a lot about Sesame Street during this discussion. So when I went to get a second opinion, I saw the Gregory Brothers YouTubers react to video of this exact one. And some of the comments made were comparing this to Sesame Street. This got me thinking, why did the creator make this choice? Then I started to think of something else. Subversion. This is the act of taking something well known and changing it into something fresh. Something like that at least. A good example of this is the movie Monty Python, The Holy Grail. It's a film that sets itself up during the medieval period, where it seems to have a similar tone to a more dramatic film, Camelot, but turns the expectations around when it comes off as a comedy to something that would more likely be taken seriously. This is why subversion plays a big role in most parody, and one could argue that Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is meant to be a parody of classic Sesame Street by taking something that seems harmless and fun into something very messed up. This is what the possible purpose is, but it still seems unclear. Why is that? Well, let's go to our next question. Was there a more specific message? I believe there was. Allow me to explain. This video was made in England, so this could also make an argument that it was not only a parody of Sesame Street, but also a satire on children's American entertainment. Tying back into my subversion theory, what most children entertainment could be considered bright and cheerful could be what they were trying to expect from you until the insane part came up. But from what this video tells us is that England believes that our children entertainment has become too simple, too sugar-coated, and makes them too sheltered, possibly because of our more sensitive society, and changes our expectations. It tries to show that we really need to teach kids that life is not all incredibly sweet, as most media would put it, which might be the explanation as to why someone was trying to spell out the word death around the climax. So, I believe that the more deeper meaning in this video was to show how much more our children deserve to learn than what is normally shown to them. As for the other Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared video, I have no idea what the message that had. So now that we know the intentions, I now ask, what was up with all the freaky imagery? The answer to this one is more simple, and once again it goes back to the Sesame Street subversion. Something a lot of people tend to forget is that some of the Sesame Street shorts have always had odd looking animation This might have either been because of a low production thing or something else, but Sesame Street is a show funded by the government, so it's pretty clear that it would have an artistic choice, so that it would be remembered more, which might have been what the creators were going for in this video in order to get its more important message across. And going back to the first question, it could also be another subversion to our expectations on how we might see a Sesame Street short. And what makes it work is that it happens so fast that it doesn't come off as pretentious or preachy. I suppose that gives the video a bit of genius. And now our last question. What does this have to do with the title? Well, after going through all of this talk of weird and overall messed up imagery, one would have a hard time trying to decide what to call it. Therefore, I believe the creators knew this and decided to go with the title less fitting to the video itself, but more fitting towards your feelings and emotions after watching this. And I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of these videos would make you feel. In conclusion, this acts a lot more like an experiment to the creators in their beliefs and ideas, rather than an actual comedic viral video. Which isn't bad, because it gives the internet a little bit more variety, and variety is never a bad option. But to be honest, this is really all just my opinion on the matter. I could be dead wrong about pretty much every single thing I said, but I do believe that every video, no matter how weird or off-putting it may seem, should get a closer look at it before it's judged. If you're feeling interested and haven't seen the video yet, check it out and see for yourself. I'll leave a link in the description. Comment on this video and give me your 2 cents on it if you like. Thank you for listening and have a happy Easter.